This is a new video made by another passenger who was on the flight the woman on the plane was on, who became distraught when she realized she was supposedly sitting next to a shapeshifter.
Hey, stop the fucking plane. Stop the plane! What's going on? Stop it.
I'm telling you, I'm getting the off, and there's a reason why I'm getting the off, and everyone can either believe it or they cannot believe it. I don't give two but I am telling you right now, that mother back there is not real.
Alright, so the internet has heard the story of the woman on the plane with the reptilians. But thanks to her delaying the flight, I just got home, so now it's my opportunity to tell my side of the story as the guy in the hoodie. So we're attempting to fly out of Dallas, Fort Worth, and then basically this woman, she sits next to me and she's clearly been drinking. I'm minding my own business, and sure enough, she sees my hoodie that has this Freemason logo on it. And on top of that, she noticed my ring, so she started to ask questions.
Welcome back. A woman on a flight had a meltdown over imaginary passenger. Like you have seen, this is a passenger. This woman freaked out that this person wasn't real. He went on TikTok to actually express himself, partaking to what is going on. This video is going viral like never before. I have seen a lot of people, on that same flight expressing themselves on what actually happened. I will play that video so you can see exactly what is happening. But before I do, this passenger you are about to watch was on that same flight.
That back there is not real.
Okay, here's the story time for you. I've tried like 2 times to record this, but I keep going over the 3-minute limit, and I don't want to do a part 1, part 2 type thing, so I'm going to try to be specific. I was on that flight. It was American Airlines. We were leaving Dallas, Fort Worth. I was sitting in the left aisle, about 3 rows back from this woman. She was sitting in the right aisle, and she had this very interesting exchange with some dude in a hoodie. I don't remember the color of the hoodie. I really, you know how memory is. When you're not super paying attention, you don't remember all the details. I had one headphone in, couldn't hear all the specifics of what happened, but I noticed this exchange between this woman and this dude in a hoodie. And it was kind of weird at the time because it seemed like no one else before she really started getting frantic, was paying attention to this, but that makes sense. It was like a normal flight. This was after putting all the luggage away. We'd been on the plane for a little bit. It was before the flight attendant came over and gave the little spiel. And what I remember is she was having like a full-blown conversation with this dude in the hoodie. I'll call him the hoodie guy. She was having a full-blown conversation with hoodie guy. The weird thing was that he never once said a fucking word to her the whole time. And at the time, I don't know, I wasn't really thinking about it. But it's like she would say something and he would respond, but there was no exchange happening. It was just her getting more and more frantic. Which, okay, if she's drunk and she's going crazy, then you would think the dude in the hoodie would have been like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But he was just dead locked on her, deep eye contact with her, I don't want to feed into the conspiracies here, but almost like she was in a hypnosis type of thing. And she started getting more and more frantic to the point where then people started kind of noticing. Flight attendant came over, tried to calm her down, what's going on? She sat back down, but she kept looking over at this dude in the hoodie, and finally she was done with it. And that's when I really started paying attention, okay, what the fuck is going on? And that's when she was I can't do this. She started getting up. She started walking up to the front. And then the whole video thing happened. I didn't take a video of it. I was listening to a Stephen King audiobook. I wasn't pulling out my phone to record this. And she didn't seem drunk to me, by the way. Just throwing that out there. I didn't see her drink. I mean, she seemed totally normal to me up until that point. The weird thing was after she left the plane, the dude in the hoodie, which the flight attendant was did anything happen? And he still didn't say a word. He just went and shrugged. The dude in the hoodie looked around the plane and he looked back at me. And he winked at me. And again, I didn't quite register it. I was okay, what the fuck was that about? I was maybe he's just being an ass, winking. That was weird, wasn't it? But now that I look back, I realized that when he winked at me, and it was his left eye looking back at me, it didn't wink like this. It winked like this. And I didn't even register
Disruptions of flight has always been a thing I've seen recently with ladies like this. A lot of people are speculating that this lady was drunk because they saw her with, I don't know what exactly. You engage with someone on a discussion, and at a certain point, you people don't agree. You just had to, assume flight attendants coming in. A lot of people, agitated over your insane decision to shout. I'm glad the person that was actually wearing this hoodie came out to express himself so people can know exactly what is going on.
And then basically this woman, she sits next to me and she's clearly been drinking. I'm minding my own business and sure enough, she sees my hoodie that has this Freemason logo on it. And on top of that, she noticed my ring, so she started to ask questions. Nothing dramatic, just asked me, do I know what these symbols mean? Why am I wearing it? What's the purpose? Yada, yada, yada. And long story short, I basically just say, hey, I'm a Freemason. I even briefly explained how I educate about Freemasonry here on TikTok. Next thing I know, she basically starts to grill me about low-level Freemason and that it's all Satanism and that it's ruled by reptilians and blah, blah, blah. So I simply put my hood up and I started to ignore her and basically just mind my own business. She starts getting louder and louder, and then basically she's like, you know that they worship Lucifer at the top, right? So I looked at her dead in her eyes and I said, I am Lucifer. I heard one individual laugh behind me, so I figured somebody got a kick out of it at least. She starts running up and down the aisles, freaking out, saying I'm a reptilian and then all this other stuff. She's going to get off the plane, yada, yada, yada. It doesn't show all the footage. It just says that she's trying to get off the plane because of, I'm not going to say it here on TikTok. I don't want to get banned. But then also talking about how, I'm secretly also trying to take over the world. So I looked back at the guy that was basically chuckling before and I winked at him. So I basically whispered something under my breath saying that, Freemasons don't care to rule the world. We rule the universe. And I looked back at the guy that was laughing before and just kind of winked at him because he started laughing again. Well, I didn't think that she could hear me, but evidently she did, and it actually escalated it even further, and then they delayed the flight, and so on and so forth. So, moral of the story, don't believe everything you hear on the internet. And Freemasons don't care to rule the world when we rule the...
This is not the only clip. There is another video similar to this. Some people says, these people just want to seek attention for views. They want to go viral on social media, but I don't believe so. When you look at their reactions, they don't have a phone. When you want to know someone that is seeking attention, they will always pick up the phone to record what is going on. But from the look of things on this clip, you will see it clearly that people have different versions of what is going on. This one was speaking of this one was doing this, at the same time,
This is a new video made by another passenger who was on the flight the woman on the plane was on, who became distraught when she realized she was supposedly sitting next to a shapeshifter.
Hey, stop the fucking plane. Stop the plane! Stop it. What's going on? Stop it.